Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of a new Trekkie. My 5-year mission to search out Star Trek media, to seek out our fans and merchandise, to boldly go where no fan has gone before.
Greetings and salutations. We're back to looking at Star Trek: The Next Generation episodes, Schisms, True Q, and Rascals. Let's look at the episode Schisms first. And what actually happened in the Schisms? Well, what happens was, basically, members of the crew are all either waking up or having situations in which they recall time differently, but something or someone is in a way kidnapping them and without them realizing. And yeah, I gotta say this episode was pretty good. I like how, in a way, like, at certain times, the episode, like, plays with time.
I have completed my self-diagnostic and have confirmed that I was not aboard the Enterprise for 90 minutes, 17 seconds yesterday afternoon.
Are you sure?
Whenever I am on the ship, the warp field leaves an electromagnetic signal on my internal servo fluid system. Between the period of 12:54 to 14:26 hours, that signature is missing.
Computer? Are there any members of the crew of the Enterprise missing?
There are 2 crew members unaccounted for.
Identify them.
Lieutenant Edward Hagler and Ensign Serial Rager.
Whether it is, Riker, he is, like, trying to sleep, and then someone's knocking at the door, and then he goes, like, "What is it?" And he's just gonna, like, say, "Good morning, sir. I just went to bed." And they go, like, say, "It's 1200 hours now, sir." I do have to say that I kind of agree with the crew in the opening sequence with Data doing poetry and all that. I mean, and the idea of, you know, like, Data giving poetry is a awesome, cool idea. And that, yeah, you know, hearing someone read poetry is always, you know, relaxing. However, at the same time, when it is not really, when it's just monotone, it's like, say, "Ode to Spot. Oh, what a beautiful cat. It has such lovely fur," and all that. There's not really much, not much emphasis on the kind of you know, I guess. I do like the costume designs for the aliens that kidnapped Riker and all that. It kind of reminds me of, like, the idea of, and the fact that the crew are always, you know, searching far and wide, and all that, and the fact, you know, they're the ones are being invaded and all that. It's kind of a fun idea, playing with Trek, I suppose. I do kind of enjoy the episode. I thought all the acting from it was pretty good. And that, yeah, we've had episodes where, like, Riker is, you know, upset and all that. We haven't really had him where he is just frustrated, and, you know, questioning things as well. And I kind of enjoyed it. I do like the sequence when he is, you know, in the alien invaders ship and all that. It is atmospherically creepy. I enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed it. Let's look at the next episode, True Q. And what actually happened in this episode? Well, in a way, a young woman coming aboard starts to show, like, you know, abilities that in a way could be, they are similar to Q's, and basically he goes up and says like, "Hi guys, I'm Captain Tom," and says like, "Say hey, yeah, she's a Q." I kind of made me think that a sign of, you know, going through puberty and all that, and the fact that she is like, you know, whether there's moments when she is having the hots for Riker.
Hi.
I know I didn't get the wrong room.
But then again, like, whenever there is an episode, there's like a lot of characters that had the hots for Riker, so that's nothing that hasn't been done before, I don't think. I do like the moments when they are allowing her to use the Q's powers, and I do like it when John Delancey shows up as Q. He's always great as it, whether he is like having to be manipulative or be this guy that is just like say, he's having to figure out what will help get this objective to fully done.
Let's go.
Leave me alone! I'm not going anywhere with you.
You agree that she has a right to choose her own future, but the first chance you get, you try to abduct her.
You're overreacting as usual, Picard. I was merely testing her powers.
And I do, like, yeah, like, in the episode, like, she basically is told, like, say, hey, you're either gonna have to go to the Continuum and become a Q, you're gonna have to give out the powers and all that. However, one thing that ends up happening, though, is a moment where the other crew members, whether it is, Geordi and others, are on a planet, and that it is going to go haywire or something of that nature, and basically she helps rebuild the planet. And yeah, I kind of like that. Unfortunately, yes, she wasn't able to not use her powers, but at the same time she used her powers for good. One thing I would like to see, though, is I would like to see more episodes involving Q, in a way where he decides finally switch over to more of, instead of like a trickster or anything like that, a kind of character, and goes like say, "Oh, Picard, are you okay? Oh, there, I fixed your issue. Y'all good now?" I kind of would like to see that. But honestly, I thought this episode was pretty good. I think the actress for Amanda did a great job. John Delancey did a good job. And what happened in this episode? Well, in this way, John Picard and others, whether it is Guinan, Kyoko O'Brien, and Roland, basically, they all end up getting back in the transporter, and they de-age to being only 12 years old. What ends up happening as the episode goes on, the ship ends up getting taken over by the Ferengi. I kind of like how, like, say, at the beginning of the series, when the Ferengi were first introduced, and the fact that, you know, they were these, like, the way they were, you know, like, introduced, they were these characters that were supposed to be evil, scary, but sometimes they just come off as goofy, confused aliens.
The core element is based on an FTL nanoprocessor with 25 bilateral kelolaterals, with 20 of those being slaved into the primary Heisenfram terminal. Now, you do know what a bilateral kelolateral is.
Well, of course I do, human. I am not stupid.
No, of course not. This is the isopalavial interface, which controls the main ferromantle drive unit. Don't touch that.
And yes, I will give it in the fact that it is a bit like, yeah, like, okay, this is a little bit silly, in the fact that the kids are able to all like trick the Ferengi into whether it is putting transporters on their bodies to be able to get them off and you know, have them get captured and all that. Yeah, I think it's a little bit silly, but at the same time, I'm able to accept it in the fact that all the actors that are playing the young versions of the adults do a pretty good job. And I can actually see the actor who plays Jean-Luc. He does a really good job. I could actually see if they had like done a young version, like a prequel to Picard. That would have been a pretty cool idea to have seen, like him going through the ranks, becoming who we know as Picard and all that. And yeah, I also like the fact that we have more backstories for Insing Ro and all that. And she is, I think she had gone past the rank of Insing, but I kind of like in the fact that both Gunn says, like, you can do whatever you want now, you're a kid, and all that. But I kind of like in the fact that, you know, at the same time, she didn't really have that. And as the episode ends, she is, in a way, finally having to have that opportunity. And whether it's drawing with Guinan.
We better get going.
Well, what's the hurry? I mean, the transporter will still be there. Why don't you pass me the royal blue? Did you do this one too?
I think it's done dramatically. I think it's done fairly well. I honestly thought this episode was not bad. I kind of enjoyed it. Is it the greatest? No. But is it good? I think so. I think the acting has some pretty good acting. I thought the episode had some good acting. The characters were done pretty well. In the fact that, you know, you could see a similarity. But I thought this episode was pretty good. See you next time.